everybody. It's Georgia Rose. How are you doing? I'm sitting here in the soul space waiting for all of you. And I actually just got here. I was in traffic and I ran in. I always make Bobby so nervous because, well, he's kind of used to me actually, but I always come at like 2 minutes to 7. And then I get on camera and he's like, wait, we got to do a mic check and we got to do this and we got to do that. And I'm like, we're just going to wing it. Going to wing it and bring it. How's that sound? So welcome. I am reporting to you live from downtown Massapequa Park, home of serial killers, pizza boxes, Joey Buttafuoco, and the Baldwins. So we're in a great place. All kinds of energy swirling around the studio. So welcome. And this is my soul space. I'm here every Monday night at 7 in Paradise Studios in Long Island. And we're going to talk tonight a little astrology, a little spiritual stuff. We're going to talk about wisdom. And I'm also going to give you guys two things, two, that you can do to change your, not to save your life, maybe, I don't know, to change your life right now. So I'm just going to see who is in the soul space and I'm going to share the show before I go into all my things that I want to talk about and see in my comments. So if you want to share the show, please do, because all of my videos are meant to be shared. And I'm just going to share away. And I'm going to hit post. There we go. So if you want to share the show, that'd be great. So see who's in the soul space tonight. Who have we got on here? Oh, we've got a lot of people already. We've got Janine and Sarah and Ann, Adrian Rose. Love your middle name, Adrian. After all, I am Georgia Rose. Carrie Ann. Hey, Carrie. And we've got Marie Laverne. So first I'm going to go into the astrology a little bit. I noticed on camera tonight, my hair got really long and I cut my hair all the time. My hair just like grows like a weed. So I want to talk a little bit about the astrology because the astrology is actually what made me compelled to do the title of the show tonight and the content of the show. We are in a really important place in the next few days in the zodiac. As a matter of fact, the nodes of the moon are changing today. I talked about that at length on the show last week. You can play that show back if you want, either on strongisland.com or on my own YouTube site at Zenkuda on YouTube. All the shows are there. I also every Tuesday do a live tarot pull for all signs, Tarot Tuesday. That'll be up later tonight. So the note. North Node arrow. North Node in Aries, it's really going to make us take action in our lives. It's going to make us finally do all the things that have been kind of sitting on the fence. If there's anything that you feel like you really haven't been able to move forward or that's just been a little bit stuck, please know that with the North Node in Aries for the next 18 months, that is when you're going to start unstucking energy. It's when you're going to start to be more clear about your steps along the way of what you have to do to create what you're trying to create, the desires in your life. The South Node in Libra is going to bring in an energy also of independence. It's going to bring in an energy where if you've had past relationships or relationships that are right now that are not good for you, too dependent, out of power balance, same old patterns of giving up your power, those are probably going to really kind of fall apart in the next 18 months. They're going to dissolve or implode, whether that's a boss or a child or a parent or a romantic partner or a friendship. This energy is all about relationships. You're going to find that relationships need to be balanced. That's going to cause a lot of things in our lives to really shift. And those shifts may be not so gentle. If you have been paying attention to Saturn and you watch this show frequently and you see where I'm making all of these predictions and these directions and these suggestions about how to let the energy guide you. If you are really doing the Saturn and showing where limitation is showing up in your life, seeing where that is and making those improvements and changes, then the North Node in Aries is going to send you even more into your destiny. If you have been ignoring those limitations and kicking those cans down the road and procrastinating and not really on the path that you're supposed to be on, then this energy is probably not going to be gentle for you. So just know that. This is an energy of our independence, our sovereignty, of stepping into our own force field of power that makes us who we are, right? So this is really about our own agency and our own authority and coming into that. South Node in Libra is going to make anything that does not promote that, support that, go away. All right. So for this week in particular, especially with the new moon coming in, this is an energy where we're going to want to self-protect. We're going to want to maybe the last couple of days, especially we had a really rainy weather here on Sunday. It's going to make you want to go into the home, family, nest. Yesterday was probably a Netflix day for a lot of people. Maybe today as well. You felt like you just didn't want to deal with anybody. You wanted to be in your own shell. That's the energy of a Cancer new moon. And when we have that type of energy, it's an energy that is actually putting us in illusion, where we want to isolate, because we all know that we are most powerful humans when we're in connection with each other, right? That's why we do the Soul Space every Monday night. And that's why we belong to the Zenkuda community online, because we want connection. That's when we're most powerful, when we're hearing about what other people do and their experiences, and I share my experiences. So that new moon in Cancer for the next couple of days is going to make us be in the illusion that we have to be alone, that we have to, be introspective to the point of isolation. We do not. You need to connect, and you need to connect with people. So that's the first thing. The next thing is this new moon coming in is a very changeable new moon today. It happened actually this morning, but it's very changeable, which means that it's moody, like the tides coming in and out. Cancer is ruled by the moon. So it's our emotions. We're going to be watery. We're going to have emotions about things. And with that North Node going into Aries, it can be assertive, aggressive. It can be hostility. So just know that when you want to go inward, if it's for self-protection, that's good. Except if you take that to the extreme and it becomes isolation, well, now that's not so good. And you really do need connection in this energy. And we're going to be kind of compelled and supported more to have more connection in our lives in the next 18 months. That's the North Node and South Node. So July 20th is going to come. Today's the 17th. So we have some energies where, the new moon comes in. It's a bit of a fresh energy with the nodes changing. It's going to want to make us take action. But for the next couple of days, while we're adjusting to that energy, the energy is changeable. And what's going to happen the 20th, 21st, and 22nd is a very big impact. These are tough days. They're days of power struggle, because we're clearing a lot of energy that was from the Taurus and Scorpio North and South Node where they were. We're clearing that energy out. Now they're in new signs. We've got a lot of energy. As I said last week on the show, I'm not going to give you all the typical technical degrees, but just suffice it to say that Pluto is being opposed by the nodes, by a lot of other planets, by a lot of other things. Pluto is kind of in a really cranky mood. And so the 20th, the 21st, and the 22nd are very, very potent days for power struggle. And I know it sounds like I talk about this kind of energy a lot. That's because this whole year of 2023 has this dynamic of Pluto in it that's causing this. It will ease up in 2024. So the 20th is going to feel a little bit like maybe we run into a wall. You feel like you want to go, 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 but now you're going to run into a little bit of a wall because Mars is opposing Saturn. Our gas, our fire, Mars, hits Saturn, and Saturn is limitations. So you may wake up Tuesday morning and think you got these great ideas and you want to go, 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 but it's not going to last, because in the following day, we hit a little bit of a wall. But like I said before, if you've been doing your Saturn, this isn't going to be that bad. It's going to be gentle. If you haven't been doing what Saturn's been limiting in your life to take the proper recourse, it's not going to be so gentle. So the 21st comes in, we have Mars opposing Saturn. And then on the 21st, the Sun opposes Pluto, which is a very similar energy. And the nodes are also squaring Pluto. So squares and oppositions are energy of tension. Pluto is the planet of transformation and death. It wants to disrupt things and crumble things so that we have to build them anew better. It's rebirth, it's transition, it's transformation. With the Sun opposing Pluto, it's a dynamic energy that is all about assertion and aggression meets reality. We've had a lot of Neptunian fantasy-like imaginative energy coming in. And now we're going to hit that wall of like, oh, wait, click reality check. Saturn's here to limit me. I'm not really going to be in this imaginative fantasy that I thought I was. And then the next day, we've got the Sun opposing Pluto, which is reality really hits. And I wouldn't be surprised if something came out in the news that day or around that time frame, because you're going to see a lot of assertion, hostility, aggression for the people who don't understand the potent way to use this energy. And the potent way to use this energy is for change. Pluto is the planet that wants to transform everything to build it better. So if you're in a transition mode of getting rid of the old and bringing in the new, you can work with Pluto to help you do that. Because what Pluto's ultimate and highest octave is to help us transform things for our betterment. So if you know how to use that energy in that way, it can really be great. We're going to go into that a little bit more in the show. And then on the 22nd, we've got this kind of a cranky energy with Neptune. And that's an energy where our dreams become very cloudy and not clear. We start the week with a lot of clarity, and then we hit that little bit of wall of reality. And then the sun opposes Pluto and gives us some hostility about what we can't seem to work forward or what's being changed. And then the following day on the 22nd, we've got Neptune coming in and really showing us that it's just not clear yet. We don't know how we're really supposed to proceed. So those 3 days, 20, 21, 22, can be a little bit of a bumpy ride. Pluto squares the nodes exactly on the 22nd. And then on the 23rd, Chiron, wounded healer planet, is starting to slow down to go retrograde. So what we have here, as I'm saying, the best use of this energy is whatever is being limited or forced into change in your life, that really see what's happening. Why is this happening? Ask where is this meant to bring me? Always be focused on forward momentum and don't let yourself get in that swirly round robin thinking with the emotions taking over. This energy is going to be a swirling energy of that type of energy of just like keeping you in that rumination of why, oh, what do I do now? I'm really not clear. Do what you can. We eat an elephant one bite at a time, as the saying goes. But this is lots of imagination, but it's imagination that we don't know if it's real, right? Where we can be misled, we can mislead others. So you really have to use your discernment as much as you can. Because of that, July is a month where we have an opportunity for really deep healing, because in that discernment, in that taking a step back, slowing our roll and saying, oh, wait, Georgia Rose told me that I could be easily misled or mislead others in this energy. Let me really focus on what my communication is supposed to be. All right. And really focusing on that, because Sunday, and Uranus at 22 degrees of Taurus is all about bringing to the surface, bringing to light shocking sudden change, but it's about our resources. It's about that cloudiness that we're like, oh, what am I supposed to do? I don't know the way out of this maze. This is great. I didn't see this coming. Uranus in Taurus is about suddenly showing us the lightning in the room, where the furniture is, how we can get in and out, how we navigate the rabbit warren. Uranus in Taurus is all about our own natural resources, which have been there the whole time. We just were cloudy, thinking about the wrong things and focused on the wrong things. We've been focused on the problem, the challenges, the issues, instead of focused on the solution. So the energy this week is a bit of a roller coaster, but I will tell you that the July 20th, 21st, 22nd, and into the 23rd are some of the most powerful days of 2023 for our transformation and changes. Now, I also know the lower energy that's out in the world, the people who are in fear, the people who are in deprivation, don't want to change, those people who are waving the flags and saying we have to get back to the way things were. It's going to be harsh, because those people are going to feel very aggressive, because newsflash, reality check, nothing's ever going back to the way it was, people. We are in forward motion. And with the North Node in Aries, it's all about making things better, building anew, taking a crumpled wall and finding a new way to make it so that next time it doesn't crumble. That's what it's about. This is also an energy where if we have practiced discernment and we have a really good agency within us that is strong and independent of the programming that goes on in the world, we're going to see a lot of truth. And we're going to see truth in a very non-aggressive way. It's just going to be, oh, okay, well, that's what that was. And you're going to move on. I was telling a friend of mine, I don't know if I should share this, but I will. I was telling a friend of mine the other day, I had an experience where I was just watching the television because I wanted to know the weather. And then, I turned on the news and it was all this political stuff. It was Sunday morning. And They were talking all about political things and all this stuff that they always talk about ad nauseum on any news channel you listen to. I don't really listen to it anymore. It's all not real. And they were talking about, the way things should be and the way things must be. And I'm running for office because of this and that and that. And I suddenly had this thought that just kind of passed through my brain. And it was simply this: wow, don't they get that this has all been just a bunch of fake stuff? Since the forefathers signed the Declaration of Independence and said all men were created equal and they owned slaves, yeah, it was all just a bunch of BS. None of it was ever real. It was all just programming. In what
Fucking motherfucker.
somebody's bad and somebody's good, right? It's all BS, people. Go into your own agency and live your life the way you want to live it, that is in alignment with your soul. That's in a nutshell. Like, that's the next 100 shows. I hope you're still watching, but that's what it's all about. And the North Node in Aries is going to bring all of it to the surface. What is it real? What is the truth? Where have you given up your power? Where are you taking it back? It's going to be also, as Pluto goes into Aquarius, was there for a little bit, went back into Capricorn to finish up this stuff, the destruction. When it goes back into Aquarius 2024, now it's about power that goes to the people. What does that mean? It doesn't mean the people should take to the streets and fight and revolution, although some people will do that. That's the lower energy. The higher energy of power to the people is individuation. It's all of us understanding what our soul energy is and how to be in alignment with that. And that's the way we want to live our life, whether that's, loving who you love, believing who you believe in, living the way you want to live. You must have the power within, obviously, the laws of the universe that are for good, for your highest good. You must go tap into your power to do those things and know what's right for you. Shut off the programming, shut off the conditioning, because by the end of this year, you're going to see that there's so much stuff being thrown at you. You're going to go into overwhelm because you won't even be able to decipher what's real, what's AI, what's a lie, what's a truth. It's going to be so far out of hand. Now is the time for us to stay in, slow our rolls, and stay in the power that we have within ourselves. And that's really, really, really what it's all about. There you go. So now I'm going to go into the two things that you can do that will absolutely change your life right now. And they have to do with everything I just talked about. That was planned. So let me look at my comments. All right. I do get all passionate, don't I? Hey, Cheryl, how are you? Oh, Pauline said the sound was interrupted. Right. Colleen, never real, all programming. It so is a lot of interference. So, Bobby, I don't know if you're here in the playback. They're saying there's a lot of interference.
I fixed it.
Oh, okay. Bobby fixed it. Oh, no. I hope you guys heard everything I said because it was really good stuff. But Bobby will clean that up later. Right, Bob? So, unless it was the powers that be that did not want to hear me tell you all these good things, because it could be. I'm really thinking like that. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm just real. So I know that you're all waiting and wondering what are the two things that can change your life right now. And I want you to know that these things are extremely basic and extremely simple. They're just not hard. They're just hard to do. They're simple things that aren't easy. All right. So the first thing is self-devotion. Now you're all rolling your eyes like, what does she mean? Self-devotion. What is that about? Well, self-devotion is, you're all probably saying, oh, self-love, self-love. We've heard that ad nauseum, but self-devotion is different. I think we all on some level love ourselves, unless we're really in need of, some kind of help or we're in a really bad place in our life. We all have love for ourselves, right? But self-devotion is a little bit different. And my guides actually gave me this as the number one tool when I was first on my journey to my soul space. And what's meant by self-devotion is it's a way of being that you live daily where you honor your soul. So let me give you some everyday examples. So you're a mom and you're exhausted and you could probably, let your kid be part of a carpool. But for some reason, you're the mom who's always the carpool. You tell yourself, oh, I don't want my kid in a strange car, or you tell yourself this or that, but there's some other underlying reason there. You're trying to fulfill something because some scary little recess of your heart, you don't think you're good enough. You think that, well, if I do 100 car trips, that's going to make me a good mom, better person, right? Or maybe you are, I don't know, in school, your kid, right? And you are trying to get all A's because you just want to see that smile on your parents' face. But you're not really interested in the subjects that you're taking. You're just doing it for them. That's nice. But when you do that for 12 years, that's really not good. Maybe it's something so simple at work. You're the person who always stays late. You're the person that always stays late, even though you have kids at home to feed, or your husband would love for you to make him a home cooked meal. Whatever the scenario is, you're getting it, right? If this is not like some big grand gesture of self-devotion, I'm going to prostrate myself on my knees and pray in front of a statue, or I'm going to go learn how to stand on my head. That's not what self-devotion is. Self-devotion is honoring your soul by the way you live every day of your life and not giving up your power, not doing things just to get along, not caving all the time, not being polite, even though you really don't want to talk to this person and they're scary and obnoxious. Self-devotion is honoring yourself because you realize on a very deep level that God created you, your soul, your body, everything. God created this hair. God created my eyes. God created my heart. I am not going to put them in jeopardy. I am not going to misuse them. I am not going to waste the time I have on this earth doing things that don't serve me and that I don't want to do. And I'm not doing that out of anger. I'm not doing that out of frustration. I'm not doing it to withhold or get back at someone. I'm doing it completely because I am devoted to the love of my soul and my heart and my body and my mind and my whole being. I'm just devoted to that because God gave it to me. And I ain't playing around with anything God made, you know? So that's self-devotion. Self-devotion is honoring your needs, your desires, and your yearnings before anything else. It doesn't mean you're selfish. It doesn't mean that you're not honoring other people as well, but you're not dishonoring yourself in the way you honor them. You're honoring your own life first with clear intent, and nothing comes before that. It's honoring your spiritual practices. Maybe you like to meditate in the morning, but now you have a new relationship. And if that person stays over or if that person wants to go out for breakfast, you don't do your meditation. That's not honoring yourself. You're giving up your connection to spirit for another. I don't think spirit really wants you to do that. Speak what you need and your desires simply. You know, I'd love to go to breakfast, but I just need an extra half hour because I meditate in the morning. You know what? If you're going to stay over, that's great. But just know, usually before breakfast, I go out on the deck for a few minutes and I meditate. You can do it with me if you'd like, or just, make yourself a cup of coffee and hang out. When you're afraid to be who you really are, you're not honoring your soul. When you're afraid that you are going to be impolite if you are who you are, you're not honoring your soul. You can state your desire simply without apology and honor your soul. That is self-devotion. Practicing self-devotion means you're actually devoting yourself to the energy that created you. Whatever that is that you believe in, angels, Buddha, Kuan Yin, God, spirit, elementals, off-planet energy, whatever you think created you, if you're not in self-devotion, you're slapping that energy in the face. When we make ourselves small to allow the programming that makes us feel safe come through, right? Like you're not satisfied in your job. They don't really acknowledge you. You know you can do better, but you keep telling your boss how happy you are there. Oh, I love it here, right? Well, why would you make yourself small when you know that your potential is suffering? You feel like you're being squeezed because you're not be able to express your soul desires. And there you are telling somebody that you love that. Not a good message to put out to the universe. We do that in relationship all the time. That's not self-devotion. That's squandering the gifts God gave us. That's squandering who we are. And then we feel that way. We do those things. And then we come home that night or a couple of nights later and we're on the couch watching the Netflix and the tape in our mind starts. Why do I feel like shit? Why do I feel so crappy? Because you're not in alignment with who you really are. You're not in alignment with what your soul wants you to do. You're not in alignment. You're not in self-devotion. So when you're not practicing self-devotion, that's why you're dissatisfied. That's why you get like that uncomfortable feeling in your body, why you're cranky, why you just maybe start to gain weight or just stop going to the gym, or the things that were really exciting to you or joyful to you suddenly aren't anymore, because you're completely out of alignment and all your energy is going to that misalignment. We stay out of self-devotion because of our programming. We're taught from a very young age, from the time we come out of the womb, we're taught not to prioritize ourselves. We live in a society that teaches us that you don't prioritize yourself above other stuff. No, 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 no. No, no, no. Open the door for somebody, let them in before you. Do all these things, right? Be polite, which is good. Polite is fine. But when polite, other people are in priority of, that's not the way you're supposed to live. Newsflash, programming, not supposed to do that. When you're self-dissolving, you're not honoring. When you're self-diminishing, you're not devoting, right? So how do you get there? How do you find that wellness in your soul? You have to bring your soul to the forefront. Self-devotion means bringing your soul to the forefront of everything that you do in your life. So the first step is a little bit of self-discovery, right? You have to discover, what is it that my soul really wants? What is my soul really yearning for? What am I really craving here? Hey, it may be a Hershey bar. I don't know. But I guarantee if you start with that, there's probably something deeper. So how do you do that? Well, self-discovery. First of all, somatic. Somatic is in the body, right? Self-discovery starts with the physical body. It starts with you're sitting on the job interview and you're not sure if you really this job's for you. Well, how does your body feel? If your body feels tensed up, if you feel like you're getting a headache, if you feel like your stomach's kind of sick while you're sitting there, probably not a good place to work. But we ignore that. Oh, it's just anxiety. Yeah, well, it is anxiety. Anxiety that your body doesn't want you to work there. If you feel really good around someone and every time they're in the room, you just feel like, oh, I can relax. That's because they're probably someone on a soul level in your frequency that's honoring you, right? So that's self-discovery. Tuning into the body. What is my body telling me? Your body's never going to lie to you. Your mind will always lie to you. Your body will never lie to you. So that's the first step to self-discovery. Journaling, drawing, astrology, tarot cards, things that make you sit with yourself and spend time with yourself. The way I like to think of self-honoring, which is what self-discovery and self-devotion really is, it's self-honoring. Honor yourself, self-honoring. When I first started to do that, and it wasn't easy because I came from, a Catholic background where there was a lot of guilt if you put yourself first. And I came from a big family where, no, you were part of the group. You weren't singled out. So when I started my practice of self-honoring, gosh, about 15 years ago, it was funny because, well, I guess it was a little less than that, maybe 12 years ago. I was single for the first time in 20 years. And I found myself in this place where I really wanted to discover myself before I put myself in any kind of relationship. And so it was funny because I coined the phrase, I used to tell everybody I'm dating myself. But when you think about that, that's really a great way to self-discover, because what do we do when we go on a date or when you meet someone new, even if it's just a friend or whatever, or somebody at work or whoever, you sit down and you start talking to them to find out about them, right? So you have to do that with yourself. When was the last time, or if ever, you sat down and talked to yourself about what you want to do and what you like? Have those conversations while you're walking in the park, drinking your morning coffee, in the shower. Like, talk to yourself. That's the most fabulous way of self-discovery, is talking to yourself. And you're going to learn what feels good, just like you learn about another person. And one of the things that I started doing, and I kind of fall off the wagon and then I come back on again, we're always self-discovery and self-devotion is a lifelong journey. Anybody who says, oh, I'm completely self-devoted. No, it's a lifelong journey. This is something that we do throughout the whole course of our lifetime. So one of the things I used to do was I would sit down and I'd talk to myself and all those things. And then one day I came to the conclusion that I should be talking to myself the way I talk to my friends. Because you know how like we give friends great advice and sometimes we give people great advice, but we don't talk to ourselves that way. Like if someone's really down on themselves, we'll say, "Oh, but you're so beautiful and you have nothing to worry about." And, "Oh, you're such a great person and you have such a big heart." But do we ever tell ourselves that stuff? We don't, right? So start talking to yourself like you would your best friend, and start having conversations with yourself like, "Hey, what do you like? Hey, do you want pizza today or do you want a salad today? What do you really like? What do you really like to eat, Georgia?" Have you ever really sat down and tuned into the body and had a conversation with yourself? First beautiful way to have self-discovery. So that's the journey to self-devotion. You got to use self-discovery as the road. The destination is self-devotion, self-honoring. And then it lasts our entire lifetime. But if I had to sum up, because I was writing about this before, if I had to sum up what it really takes, it's patience, it's discipline, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. It's compassion for yourself and starting to take priorities and really listening to yourself and making you as much of a priority or more so than the other things in your life. A good way to know what you're prioritizing in your life, I say it all the time, is to look at your schedule, your calendar, and look at your emails to see what you're spending time on. And then also look at your debit account, whatever you use on a daily basis. Where's your money going? Because that's what you're focused on, right? So when you look at those things, it gives you a really good idea into what you're doing and what your daily habits are, which are going to lead me to my next thing. So you got to do the work on self-discovery. You want clear seeing. You want to date yourself. You want to talk to yourself and listen to yourself and start to honor the person that you are. All of this that God made within you, you don't want to crap all over that. I'm telling you, you don't want to do that. No. God is not going to be happy if you do that. Right now, I sound like my good old Catholic little girl self. So self-devotion is a practice in real life. It's about honoring myself in decisions all the time. Sometimes I'll be home just doing something and somebody will call up and they'll be like, "Hey, you mind if I pop over?" I will say, "No, it's not a good time." I never used to do that. Now I really honor what I'm feeling. I don't let people blow my day. I don't let, if someone really does something and I have, a bad time with someone, or if somebody does something hurtful, or if I do something I shouldn't have done and didn't catch it in time, or I take care of it. I say what I have to say, and then I move on. If I lose sleep over something, that person or that situation just stole my night. They're not stealing my next day. That's honoring myself. I don't let it go that far. I let go of things because I want to honor myself so that my energy stays in the place of doing what I came here to do. And as you get to know yourself and self-discover and talk to yourself and spend time with yourself and date yourself, even if you're married, you will find the way that you are meant to honor yourself, right? So just remember, we're going to get dragged into the programming. We have all been programmed. Society programs us not to self-honor. Honor yourself. Break out of that programming, because it's really true. We're programmed to have doubt, all kinds of stuff. So make sure that you are not people-pleasing, not doing what society tells you to do, right? I said it a long time ago, and I've said it frequently. Not everything put in front of you deserves your attention. Especially now, we have all these devices and information, and not all of it deserves your attention. My television doesn't deserve my attention a lot of the time. I watch a lot of Gaia. I watch a lot of documentaries. I wouldn't even say a lot, but that's what I watch when I do watch. Music is extremely censored in my home, because it'll work you up. So if there's any place that you feel like you're not good enough, just remember the natural instinct of all is to honor yourself, because you are a creature of God, and God didn't make anything that wasn't good enough. If you're not feeling good enough, it's because you are dissatisfied with your life, because you're in the program of not prioritizing your self-devotion and your self-honoring. All right. So number 2, what's number 2? I know you're all waiting for number 2. Number 2, first one is self-devotion, self-honoring. I think you got that. Number 2 is structured discipline. Ooh, it sounds so nerdy and horrible. I don't want a structured discipline. What the hell is she talking about? It's not as bad as it sounds. If I can do it, anybody can do it. I'm a very indulgent person at times. So structured discipline is how you order your days, but not just how you order your days, how you order your days to support or detract from the way you want to live your life. So, you're into step 1, right? You're honoring yourself. You're learning about yourself. You're finding there's things you really want to do. right? I'll give you a really basic example that happened to me this week of one of the ways that I practice structured discipline. So I have a gym downstairs in my house. It's got my treadmill and my yoga mats and a weight bench and an elliptical, and I love the elliptical. And I'm actually, for the first time in probably about 20 years, I'm actually trying to lose a little bit of weight now. I never, it's kind of foreign to me because I had a mobility issue over the winter, and for 8 months I really didn't move a lot, and so I'm still trying to take this little bit of weight off. So I love the elliptical, but now I don't really love going downstairs. It's a beautiful basement and everything, but it's just like, I don't know. I just don't, it's not my space, don't really love it. So, I mean, it's completely finished. It's beautiful. I do a lot of healing work there. There's nothing wrong with the space whatsoever. It's just like, it's an excuse I give myself. I don't want to go downstairs. So yesterday I dragged my elliptical up the stairs and put it in my den where I spend time in the morning. And now, the last couple of days, I've been on that elliptical every day because my discipline makes me go on it, but I need a structure that supports that. When the machine was downstairs, that structure did not support the way I want to live my life. So that's a very basic 3-dimensional example. But think about, and especially if you're journaling, use this as a journal exercise. Think about, where is it that the structures in your life are not supporting what you really want to do? For instance, you want to write something or you want to create something. Do you have a space to do that in? Do you have a physical space for that? Maybe you need to learn something before you can go to the next level in something you want to do. Are you creating the space, the wisdom, the place to achieve the wisdom? Are you reaching out for the right people? There's a discipline and there's a structure. One without the other is failure. Success only happens with structured discipline. And when I coach people and tell people this, a lot of times it's like this big thing that no one ever knows about. And it's truly, truly like a magic pill. If you can literally separate the places in your life where the structure, where you have the discipline to do something, but the structure in your life is not supporting it. There's a difference between discipline and structure. So using discipline and structure together amplifies your whole life. It amplifies everything. It takes the energy away from all those detractors, the things that are sucking the energy out because you don't have the structure. Once you marry discipline and structure, everything just flows. So how do we do that? Okay. So discipline is the habit, right? So maybe there's a habit that you're really good at. Maybe you love to play pickleball and that's your exercise now, but you don't have anyone to play with. And maybe you're the type of person who needs someone to motivate you, or you don't really have good equipment. Well, the first thing you should do after this podcast is go out and buy your equipment. You need the structure to back up the discipline, right? Go online and find a place who's doing pickleball and join that club, right? Give yourself the structure behind the discipline. Because if you don't, if you just have the structure, like, how many people go out and buy a guitar and never play it? Yeah, because you needed more structure. You have no discipline. What do you need to put the discipline in place with the actual physical structure of the task? You got to marry those two. You have to marry them for success. And also what I'm going to tell you guys is part of the programming that I was referring to before that doesn't let us prioritize ourselves. Their discipline and structure together are extremely powerful. They make you extremely powerful. They are just like North Node and Aries. They're all about your agency and your sense of self. So when you put discipline and structure together, you are like a superhero. You are like, Batgirl, Superman, whatever, right? The one with the bracelets, Superwoman, Wonder Woman. So society doesn't want you to be that powerful. They want to control you. They want to enslave you. The controllers want to enslave you. So somewhere along the line, you've been told discipline is punishment. As soon as I said the word structure, discipline, how many people said, oh, I don't want to hear this crap? Because you associate the word discipline with punishment. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is freedom. And if you don't think discipline is freedom, try it. All you have to do is think about if you were a kid and your parents made you play a particular instrument, like how many of you had to go on the piano and play scales because somebody came over and they taught you piano, or you went somewhere to learn piano and that you had to learn your scales and you had to learn your scales and you had to be disciplined. That wasn't a punishment, because when that person left, you got to knock it out and rock on that piano, and maybe you felt free, right? That's a perfect example of discipline makes us feel free. Once we've mastered the task, it's freedom. It's freedom. The things we don't like to do that are challenging for us are our power when we master them. That is freedom, not punishment. So you got to rewire your thinking with structured discipline is freedom. It's going to bring you everything you want in life. So look at your calendars, look at your appointments, look at your phone reminders, your schedules. That's your structure. So if there's something that you have been wanting to do that you have not been able to accomplish, like even meditation, make an appointment for meditation every day with yourself or every week with yourself or whatever it is. Start with something that is achievable and go from there. And this is such an important message. And I'm not saying that because it's my podcast and I'm delivering it. I'm saying it because if people can, all of us, myself included, can really enact and activate these messages, these energies in our life, we'll be unstoppable. So carve out structure and then you have to focus on it. Just like the kid who has to learn the scales on that piano or the chords on the guitar, it feels like work because it is work. It's work to get our freedom. It's work to have discipline in our lives, but the rewards are there. So you have to make sure that the structure and the discipline are on the same equal level. It's a partnership. It's like if you were going to go to work today and find a partner to help you do something at the job, you wouldn't pick someone who didn't have your work ethic. You would pick someone with an even amount of energy and your work ethic. That's structure and discipline. They have to be equal in your life. Structure with no discipline leads to a bunch of scheduled stuff, a bunch of structure with nothing in it. It's empty. And you're going to get really dissatisfied because you didn't do something. Discipline with no structure can lead to overwork because you just keep doing it and doing it. You're like a hamster on a wheel with no production. So discipline, when done correctly, will unlock your growth. Wherever you're stuck in your life, it's because either discipline or structure is out of balance, and you've got to marry the two so that they're equal. Once you do that, that is where your growth is and where you break cycles. Let me tell you, discipline creates freedom, especially when you are intensely focused. And the other thing I want to tell you that a lot of people mistake is that they think that discipline means something like punishment or something that's not really good for us. Discipline is really good for us because it brings out our own natural resources. And discipline is really the road to self-mastery. If you're really serious about your Zen, you're really serious about creating the best life you can live because God has graced you with this, then self-mastery is the road. And the way to self-mastery is discipline and structure. You got to marry the two. So honor yourself, and then discipline and self-structure will bring you the rest of it. I'm just looking at my time because I don't have a clock. So I'm going to pull a few cards. But the other thing I was going to say about habit is that a lot of times people feel that the habit is the thing. It's not. The habit is the discipline. You know, a habit is just lack of discipline if you have a bad habit. So habit is discipline. So if you can find it in you to motivate yourself to marry your discipline with your structure, you're going to come out a lot of the depressions you feel. You're going to come out a lot of the dissatisfaction you feel, because that is the ultimate way to honor yourself. And if you need motivation, I think the best motivation you could possibly think about is that a higher power, God, whoever he is, completely created you, everything about you. So if you're not living to your highest potential, or at the very least making an effort, like, you're not honoring what God gave you. You're not honoring yourself, your soul, everything about you. So I thought I had about 15 minutes. I have 5. So I'm just going to pull a card for the collective, but I really want to go into, I think I'm reading that self-devotion can be trigger. It taught humility, all life, wow, and an aha moment. Absolutely. You hit it right on the head. Cheryl said the interference was a guy cursing. I don't know who that could be. Wow. Maybe the powers that be really didn't want to hear my podcast today. We got a lot of people online. So what I'm going to do is on my Tuesday for tarot, please tune into that because you'll get all the cards. Thank you. Anne says she enjoyed every last word. Thank you. So I want to tell you that the reason, my motivation for doing the show and in the soul space and all, I'm going to tell really quick, only got a couple minutes left. My whole motivation is because I have to live my own soul and my own honor. So I do it for that reason, because, God kind of told me, stick a microphone in your face and be here. But I also do it because I have had such challenging and tragic moments in my life that if I can shorten somebody else's learning curve, that you guys never have to be in that place, then I'm damn skippy going to do it. So that's why when I say things, they're really sincere, because I sincerely want to help you find your own soul space and deepen it. And by doing this show, I'm doing that for myself, and I'm learning from all of you, and I'm deepening my commitment to my own self-honoring and soul. So that's what the soul space is all about. That's what Living Zencuda is all about. It's self-honor. It's living in that beautiful space where we're honoring ourselves. We are the priority in our life, and our lives are joyous and abundant because of that. Go out and do the things that you really want to do. God planted that seed in you so that you are unique, and you're supposed to do that beautiful, unique thing that you said we're placed on this earth to do. Not doing that is really going to make you feel bad, and God probably won't like it either. He's not going to do anything bad. He's probably just going to make you repeat the life again in a different way, because that's karma. But create good karma for yourself and practice that beautiful self-devotion and self-love. So I'll see you on Tarot Tuesday on Zencuda.com. I'm going to be picking cards for all of the astrological signs, and I'll be back here at 7:00 in the soul space next Monday. And if you have any questions for me, just reach me online or just put it in the comments, and I promise I will answer. Comment on any one of my posts on my social media, Zencuda Official on Instagram and Zencuda Soul Space on Facebook, and I will be right back at you. Thanks so much, guys. If you want a private reading, you know where to find me. See you next week. Bye-bye.